Welcome into the Cam Rogers Show. Woo! It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, September 14th, 2017. Make that 15th. I know my dates, I swear. We thank you for tuning into the program. We're taking you up until 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is 10 o'clock on the East Coast. 74 degrees in the Chat Sports Studios here in Dallas. Well, it certainly is a beautiful day here in Dallas indeed. And by the way, we are completely live here on Facebook. So we encourage you to comment, engage, let me know what you are thinking on the various topics that we will discuss. So let's get into the morning headlines this morning. And we're starting off with Aizer Wright, who is one of the stars from the Netflix series Last Chance U. He was arrested on Wednesday and charged with murder. Wright played 10 games for Indiana last season. The Red Sox removed a couple fans on Wednesday night for laying a banner over the green monster that read, quote, "Racism is as American as baseball." There has not been an official statement from the Red Sox at this point. Those fans were removed from that game. Thursday night football. Typical Thursday night football. Houston beating Cincinnati 13-9. Deshaun Watson with a nice 49-yard touchdown run in that game. Primetime Andy Dalton was, well, primetime Andy Dalton. Clunky. Was not very good. Kind of like me when I play intramural flag football. It was gross. And in that game, look, you have a rookie quarterback in Deshaun Watson coming in. A lot of pressure on this kid. I mean, essentially thrown into the fire here. Because Tom Savage started week one. He eventually got replaced. Deshaun Watson put in that game against Jacksonville, played all right. Houston didn't win that game, of course, because the Jags just absolutely balled out, but there's the score there. Texans are now 1-1 on the year. The Bengals 0-2, and you have to wonder, when will that Marvin Lewis era end? Like, for the love of God, can we just stop this Marvin Lewis experiment? How long has it been? The guy hasn't won a playoff game. He is the second longest tenured coach in the National Football League, right behind Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wins football games in the playoffs in January and February. Marvin Lewis is golfing in January and February. There's the difference. Get Marvin Lewis out of the NFL, at least as a head coach. Put him at another position, perhaps as an assistant or something like that. But I digress. The Texans with a nice win in that one. Deshaun Watson, 15-24, $125, as you see there. And he had 5 carries, so showed off the legs in that one. And DeAndre Hopkins, look, I think this guy can have a fantastic season. Did not have great opportunities last year with Mr. Brock Osweiler at the helm, but a nice game there. 7 receptions with 70-plus yards. So the Houston Texans, at least getting back on track. The Cincinnati Bengals are fulfilling the projections of many people right now. Struggling offensive line, Andy Dalton perhaps regressing. We need those rookies, if you're a Bengals fan, to perform well. John Ross and Joe Mixon going forward if they want to win games. Moving on, Odell Beckham Jr., who's been suffering an ankle injury, returned to practice yesterday for the media portion at least. He's been ailing an ankle, as I said, and that could be something where he could be out 6 to 8 weeks, but he was a limited participant yesterday. The Giants are going to battle the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football, so it's back-to-back primetime games for the New York Football Giants. And in fantasy circles, this is pretty concerning because you have to wonder, am I going to sit Odell? Am I going to, wait it out and see what happens in terms of that Monday night game, rolling the dice? Do I need to get Sterling Shepard or somebody else to fill that void if Odell doesn't play? But look, I mean, you look at what he was saying yesterday, and it didn't sound like he's going to play Monday. Heck, it doesn't sound like he's going to play for a very long time, saying that he just doesn't know. It could be 4 to 12 weeks. There is a really wide range in which Odell Beckham Jr. could return to the NFL in a starting capacity. Doesn't look like it's going to be Monday night. So Odell fantasy owners, I think you got to play it safe here. Even if he does play Monday, he's going to be a decoy. We've seen that before when he has been hurt. So Odell Beckham Jr., we'll see what happens going forward. But there he is practicing, which is at least a nice step at this juncture. Jemele Hill took to Twitter on Wednesday night to address her recent comments about President Trump, saying, quote, "The regret is that my comments and the public way I made them painted ESPN in an unfair light." And just this morning, President Trump took to Twitter, and we have that graphic for you. ESPN is paying a really big price for its politics and bad programming. people are dumping it in record numbers, apologize for untruth. So it looks like the dialogue will go on in terms of Trump and some folks from ESPN, most notably Jemele Hill, in terms of what she said. And I think what she really regretted was the fact that she was connected to ESPN in the sense that ESPN kind of had this perception by people that they made that statement, not Jemele Hill. So Jemele Hill felt bad about that, and on we go. So President Trump now making ESPN a target in his tweets. So look, I think this is a situation where Jemele Hill has every right to say whatever the heck she wants. Freedom of speech, something I'm going to talk about in my opening rant in a matter of moments. And President Trump, I mean, he can say whatever he wants to, although he is the president, so we should probably hold him to a higher standard than him attacking ESPN right now, but I digress. The dialogue will go on, it seems, although Jemele Hill certainly did take things to Twitter and really try to disconnect the whole ESPN and her statements thing, which was getting really tangled up together recently by some other media folks and things like that. So that's where we're at right now with that situation. And yeah, I mean, it's something we got to monitor going forward, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Trump continues to tweet about this, but stay tuned on that one. Let's get into the opening rants. So, freedom of speech, ladies and gentlemen. First Amendment, you know it. Expression, we can all do it. It's a beautiful thing. And one thing that stood out to me, so with the Kenny Stills situation, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, he went out to the media and basically spoke out in support of Colin Kaepernick, saying, quote, protests need to be true, it needs to be pure, it needs to be in your heart. Protest and activism is not a fad. You got to be all in or you got to be all out. And people are starting to get angry about this. All right, I shouldn't say starting. They're getting angrier. And by that, I mean people are saying, like, let me just sit back and watch football. These are professional athletes. They should be playing football and nothing else. And I need to be entertained 24/7, and that's it. Here's the reality, folks. NFL players are not robots for your entertainment. They are human beings. You are a human being. We all are human beings. We all are entitled to our First Amendment rights to express however we choose. And if a player wants to sit down, if a player wants to raise their fist, if a player wants to speak out in support of another player who's trying to create a national dialogue or at least engage in a national dialogue, heck yeah, you can do that. And we have no right to say you can't. And especially us NFL fans, we can't criticize these players. They're going out there working hard, trying to make a living for their families, for their kids, etc. And yeah, it's entertaining, and yeah, we love to watch it happen, but it doesn't mean they have to cater to what we want. And by that, they can't just be these people who play football and do nothing else. We can't hold them to that kind of standard. We can't say that, look, we don't want them talking about this, we don't want them sitting about this, we don't want them doing that. Who are we to say for them to do that? We're not their employers, okay? We're not the bosses of them. We're all on an equal playing field. Just like you, every day you have the right to say whatever you choose. You have the right to comment on this Facebook show and all the other shows here on Chat Sports. And just like Colin Kaepernick, he can do whatever he so chooses in terms of pushing a national dialogue or engaging or performing in social activism, which seems to be a very important thing to him. So I'm sick and tired of seeing people complaining that other players are coming to the sport of Colin Kaepernick and just saying that they can't do this. Well, why? Why is that? Because, again, we're human beings. We all fall under this First Amendment right, and they can do whatever they so choose. And so I just think it's actually a ridiculous thing that people are actually complaining about this when there are so many more problems in this world, and you're complaining about somebody sitting down or kneeling or raising a fist because they can do whatever they want. First Amendment rights. It's like basic 9th grade kind of education there. It's something that we all learned. It's a fabric of American culture. It's something that we all pride ourselves on. And Yes, professional athletes are employers of their respective league. No, they shouldn't be 24/7 robots who simply play on a field and aren't allowed to engage in the national discussion. Our ability to watch these players, folks, is a privilege, not a right. The players' ability to speak their mind is indeed a right, not a privilege. So those are the differences there. What's wrong with a marketplace of ideas in the first place? Right? That's something that major figures in the early days of America really praised. Marketplace, a collection of ideas. Just the differences in how we view things. It's what makes America amazing. It's what makes America great. What makes America a really an enjoyable place to be. And it's what makes the NFL a great sport as well. Getting people, professional athletes, into the national space in terms of dialogue, in terms of engaging in things that should, quite frankly, be spoken about. And power to them. And no power to us to criticize that. So going forward, you're gonna see a lot more of this, folks. So if you don't like it, get used to it. You're gonna see a lot more of what is happening right now with the national anthem and Colin Kaepernick and all this stuff. It's just a fact. So here we are. It's America. We can do what we want in terms of our expression. And can players get suspended? Well, yes, they are indeed employers of the NFL. The NFL has the right to do whatever they so choose if they feel it is hurting the league. That's not for me to say. It's not for you to say. It's for the league to deal with. I'm only arguing in terms of what our Constitution says. And what our Constitution says is we can express any opinion we so feel at that moment in time. So for Colin Kaepernick and all athletes, literally all professional athletes, my message to you is this. Do you. Don't let any of the ambient noise out there affect you. Speak your mind, play the sport you love, and us, citizens, enjoyers of football, will just sit back and enjoy your greatness. That's what it comes down to. That's all. It's really a simple concept. If you're a player, feel free to speak your mind. If you're a fan of the NFL, NBA, MLB, etc., just sit back and enjoy it. Just enjoy the greatness. And hey, if they say something that you don't like, deal with it. Because you're going to get a lot more of that in this world, because you're going to get a lot more deferring views and things like that, and perhaps you'll hear things you don't enjoy or you don't really like to hear. Just a fact. Just a fact, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Opening rant here on the Cam Rogers Show. Although we have a big encouragement on this program, we want you to comment. And here we go with Tom Merrick Jr. saying, yes, they have the right to kneel or stand. I personally don't agree with them. It is disrespectful. Kaepernick will have to learn that there are consequences for the decision that he makes. I mean, Tom, here's the deal. Yeah, I mean, they have every right. You're absolutely right in that sense. And look, if there are consequences from the NFL, that's not for us to say because we're not the employers, the NFL is. So the NFL, yeah, I mean, they could suspend Kaepernick if they wanted to, but Tom, I would be shocked if they did. Let's say Colin Kaepernick plays quarterback for a team and he starts kneeling and the NFL suspends him. Think about the PR nightmare that would be for the NFL. They're already struggling right now with what they're trying to do here with Ezekiel Elliott, which I talked about in my opening episode. You can check that out as well. So, yeah. I think it's an interesting dialogue. It's an interesting situation, something we'll talk about going forward, of course, in the landscape of sports. There's your opening rant. What we're going to do here is we're going to hit a quick break. And after that, we got my man, Adam Aizer, who's a CBS Sports podcast host. He covers fantasy football, covers fantasy baseball, a little college basketball, a little NBA as well. So we have Adam coming on the program. We look forward to that discussion. And we'll hit a quick break. And we'll see you soon. All right, we are back on here. Welcome back to the Cam Rogers Show here on this beautiful Friday morning. It is 10:15 on the East Coast. We thank you for tuning into the program. You see the lineup here the rest of the way. Right now we have Adam Aizer, CBS Sports podcast host, on the line. Adam, we appreciate the time, sir. How are we?
Doing pretty well. David Johnson, owner in 3 of 9 leagues, so could be doing a little bit better, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the David Johnson situation certainly is a rough one. We do know that he will be out at least 2 to 3 months. Sorry about that, Adam. But we'll see what happens with him going forward. Hopefully he comes back and plays for the Arizona Cardinals. Not anytime soon, though. Adam, here's the deal with Week 1. We learned a lot. And in terms of the Colts, I mean, that performance just stuck out to me. They were absolutely disgusting against the Rams. And I got to ask you, are they truly this bad without Andrew Luck?
Yep, they're right there with the Jets. They'd be just as bad. One of the worst teams in football, and unfortunately, they wouldn't give us any reliable fantasy options. We've seen it time and time again. Whenever Andrew Luck is out, T.Y. Hilton is just sort of okay. He averaged about 3 fewer fantasy points per game in standard scoring leagues without Luck 2 seasons ago compared to with Luck. Last year he had 1 game without Andrew Luck and it didn't go well. So he's going to be a guy until Andrew Luck gets back. He's going to be a guy that you might want to sit. It's pretty bad. You don't have to, but he's probably like a number 2 receiver at best most weeks. And yeah, they're terrible. I don't trust Frank Gore without Andrew Luck because he pretty much makes Frank Gore and gets him in position for those short touchdown runs. So they are awful.
Yeah, absolutely. We see how they'll do against Arizona in Week 2. How about the Giants, Adam? I mean, they were absolutely awful against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Offensive line is one big revolving door. And as an offensive line enthusiast, it was pretty gross for me to watch. So to me, this seems like a fantasy wasteland, Adam. Like, even with Odell Beckham Jr. included into this rotation, I just feel like, I mean, you can't start any player on that team at this juncture. Do you have any confidence in starting any player right now, including Odell?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to be so much better. I mean, I had a feeling this was going to be this kind of game for them. They're terrible without Beckham. There's no question. He is the most valuable player on that offense. Honestly, I think he might be more valuable than Eli Manning if you had to decide which one player they can live without. And he will make everybody better. I think you got to be really worried about Brandon Marshall, who had 1 catch on 4 targets yesterday. But Shepard's whatever. I think he's owned in like 35% of CBSSports.com league. Somebody will step up. He'll probably be a little inconsistent there. And then really the question, Beckham's going to be fine. He's going to be great. The question will be with Perkins and with Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning, he would be somebody you could stream. I think he could be. I think he could still be a top 15 quarterback. And Perkins, will Odell Beckham open up the run game for Perkins? Will it matter with how bad that offensive line is? Will Darkwa come in and steal carries from Perkins? I think next week will be pretty telling. They got to get things going. But Beckham is going to make everybody better on that offense. There's no question. He is the offense, and they're a shell of themselves. This is the second time in now 3 seasons that they played without Beckham, and both times they were completely embarrassing. So he'll make everybody look better. No, not with Bell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's certainly something to monitor.
He'll be fine as long as he's healthy. He's still caught 6.
I got to ask you about David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. I mean, these two are the consensus running backs in fantasy circles, of course. Bell cow backs, fantastic talents. Le'Veon Bell, 32 yards rushing in Week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. Perhaps had something to do with the fact that the guy showed up in September to play football. Could be a problem. And then David Johnson, of course, I mean, we now know that he's going to be hurt for a prolonged period of time. I'm sure when he's healthy, again, he will be a serviceable, fantastic, I would say, running back if the recovery goes good. But is panic warranted among these two running backs? I mean, because you have Le'Veon Bell, who didn't play so well, and David Johnson now, who's kind of hurt for a long time.
No, not with Bell. Bell's going to be just fine. Johnson, he'll be fine as long as he's healthy. He still caught 6 passes yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's very involved in the passing game. The Steelers' offense didn't play very well, and they didn't have Bell during training camp, and the same page, and they've got Minnesota, which is tough, but they're at home, which is great next week. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect there, but they'll hit mid-season form pretty soon. You know, Johnson, I have no concerns about if he's healthy, but we've gotten so many reports from he's going to miss most of the season, to half the season, to a few weeks, to he might be able to play next week. Hopefully we'll be able to find out pretty soon. Not with Bell. Bell's going to be just fine. Johnson, he'll be fine as long as he's healthy. He still caught 6 passes yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Very involved in the passing game. The Steelers' offense didn't play very well, and they didn't have Bell during training camp, and Martavis Bryant missed the full season, so they're still probably getting on the same page, and they've got Minnesota, which is tough, but they're at home, which is great next week. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect there, but they'll hit mid-season form pretty soon. You know, Johnson, I have no concerns about if he's healthy, but we've gotten so many reports from he's going to miss most of the season, to half the season, to a few weeks, to he might be able to play next week. Hopefully we'll be able to find out pretty soon. And I'm going to pick up Kerwin Williams where I can. Not expecting all that much, but we need money back, certainly. I think these guys are going to be fine as long as.
Yeah, I mean, the running back situation. The running back situation right now is certainly rough for the Arizona Cardinals with David Johnson. Going to be out for a long time. Kerwin Williams, DJ Foster, heck, Chris Johnson making a comeback. We'll see. I want to talk about the Seahawks here. I mean, rough performance against the Green Bay Packers. Another offensive line that stinks, perhaps the worst in the league. When we're throwing around the name Luke Jokel as perhaps the left tackle, that just strikes fear into me as a fellow quarterback. So I got to ask you about Seattle and their fantasy stock, because here's how I view things. If the offensive line struggles, it's a trickle-down effect, right? I mean, you have Russell Wilson running for his life. Doug Baldwin doesn't get his opportunities. Less running holes for Rawls, Lacey, Procise, etc. So I got to ask you about the trend here for Seattle. Is it going downward in terms of fantasy and reality, too, of course?
I don't think it's a bad thought. I think it's a little premature. I mean, we don't want to go crazy after 1 week. Because last time the Seahawks played at Green Bay last year, Russell Wilson got sacked. He got hit all game. He threw 4 interceptions, I think. He had a terrible game. And the Seahawks got after, and the Packers got after him again. So I saw what you saw. I feel the same way, that it's concerning. I don't know that I'm willing to downgrade anyone in the passing game, especially Doug Baldwin. That guy's going to get his numbers no matter what. And Wilson should be fine because he's healthy. Like last year, the offensive line was a problem, but I think his ankle, his leg was an even bigger problem. He couldn't really run, and he couldn't escape. He's healthy now, and he did run for 40 yards yesterday. So I think Wilson will be fine. Not having good offensive line, to me, is mostly concerning with the run game. And whether or not you want to hang on, like you can drop Eddie Lacy. I don't think he's going to be a thing this year. But whether or not you want to hang on to Thomas Rawls and Chris Carson, I'm still willing to be patient, especially with Thomas Rawls. But definitely red alert there, because that offensive line did look horrible, and it's not a surprise that it was bad. But keep in mind, the Packers started out the season as one of the best run defenses in the league last year. They got some injuries, and they weren't as good. They might have a very good run defense, so I don't want to judge the Packers too harsh. I don't want to judge the Seahawks too harshly after 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Week 1 is full of overreactions, what we do here in the media, Adam, and we'll see how the Seahawks do going forward. But Eddie Lacy, no longer a thing. All right, there you have it, folks. Last question here, Adam. The Patriots. Now, we've only seen one game from them. Of course, that game against Kansas City, where Mike Gillislee, he got a lot of carries. Your guy at CBS Sports, Dave Richard, divvying up the touches for each player in that game, and Gillislee was the leader by far, but you still have Burkhead, you still have Dion Lewis, James White, etc. It's kind of a backfield where I'm scared as a fantasy player, because the Patriots tend to play games with fantasy players' hearts. So I want to ask you about this backfield here for New England. How does it shake up in your eyes?
I think that Gillislee will eventually be 15 carries a game, which is great. I think that Gillislee will eventually be 15 carries a game, which is great. And I think he's a good player. I think he will do well with those 15 carries. You hate to rely on somebody that gets nothing in the passing game, because that means he probably has to score to be good, and that's a little frustrating. But Gillislee will obviously be in the position to score a lot. I think he's a number 2 running back. And, the problem is just he's really very rarely going to catch passes, and that means total yards go down. And I mean, like Ezekiel Elliott caught 5 or 6 balls last night, had an extra 3 fantasy points for you, and that was huge. That's great. But if you don't catch any passes, then you're Alfred Morris, what he used to be, or maybe you're Rob Kelly. And that means if you don't score a touchdown, what are we looking at? 70, 80 total yards in normal weeks. And that's a little frustrating. But Gillisley is their best running back, their best ball carrier. James White's going to be the best in PPR. And Burkhead will have some good moments, but he'll be frustrating. But I'm looking forward to them kind of turning Gillisley loose a little bit, and I think he's got a chance. My bold prediction was 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. I think that's very realistic for him.
All right, Adam, there you have it. Adam Aizer of CBS Sports Fantasy. You can hear him on CBSSports.com doing fantasy football, of course, right now, and fantasy baseball. Adam, I know you have a busy schedule this time of year. I really appreciate you taking the time, and all the best to you, sir.
All right, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, there you have it. Adam Aizer. You can follow him on Twitter
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Adam Aizer. And we will get to a quick break here. And coming up on the other side, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. We're power ranking the top 5 fast food chains in America, and I'm going to do it with my guy, Tom Downey of Chat Sports. Stick around, folks. And we are back here on the Cam Rogers Show on Chat Sports Facebook Live. Friendly reminder, always comment whenever you have something on your mind. We'll revisit the Trump Jameel Hill situation later in the program. But I got my guy, Tom Downey. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing good. A little early for me, but I'm doing good.
Just chug that coffee, man. Here's our totem pole for today. We're power ranking the top 5 fast food chains in America. Here's what we're going to do, Tom. I'm going to go through my 5. You can weigh in as I go through.
Oh, I will.
And you're going to do yours. And, folks, if you don't recognize the chains that he mentions, I totally understand because I don't know, like,
That's because you're not cultured.
Whatever. All right, fine. We'll just go with mine. So to start off here. So I'll start with number 5 here. My fast food chain, Burger King.
What year is it?
2017.
Because Burger King hasn't been good for years now. They got away from what makes Burger King great. The burgers. They're doing all this other stuff, all the chicken stuff, all the fries.
But the chicken's good.
Focus on, you are Burger King. You are not Chicken King. Focus on the burgers.
I mean, okay, that's fair, but okay, so I'll say this. The burgers, in terms of Burger King, have been kind of sloppy. But the fries are fantastic. That chicken, that white meat is so good. I mean, come on.
Look, Burger King, what year did the Iron Man 2 come out? Because like right around the time that Iron Man 2 came out is when Burger King started to really drop. Like Burger King, if this was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Burger King would have been on my top 5. Not anymore. They have gone downhill.
All right, I'll move on to number 4 here. This one I think we can agree on. You had it on your list, a little tease there. Five Guys burgers and fries. Look, the peanut oil with the fries, they load them on. Burgers are pretty good too.
I had Five Guys on here. I don't know if they're actually fast food.
That's interesting.
This falls in the steak and shake category for me, where it's not really fast food.
Because you got to go in and order it
You got to
and
go
wait,
in
right?
and sit. Like I think technically some steak and shakes have drive-throughs. I think a couple of Five Guys now have drive-throughs. But this isn't fast food for me. Either way, I have no issue with Five Guys on here.
Okay,
Five Guys is amazing.
Yeah, and as we go through these rankings, folks, we want you to weigh in as well. Five Guys, really good burgers. Do you like their fries, though? I mean, how do you like that peanut oil thing?
I don't mind the fries, but the burgers are amazing.
Okay.
And I don't go to Five Guys for the fries. I go there for the burgers that make me feel very fat afterwards.
Okay, that's absolutely fair. Here's number 3 for me. I'm a big Chick-fil-A guy. I mean, it gets a bad rap. It's closed on Sundays. I get it, all that stuff. But hey, I mean, the chicken is fantastic, and those waffle fries. I mean, they're funky, but they're good.
I like Chick-fil-A. I won't spoil my top 5 here. You have the wrong chicken place on here, though.
Ooh, do I really?
Yes.
I bet I won't know what it is.
You have the wrong one on here. That's all I'm going to say.
Number 2 here, I mean, just kind of like the Patriots of the class of the AFC, this is the class of fast food chains, Tom. McDonald's, the Golden Arches, I mean, you got to have it on there, right?
Our lists are very different, and I think that's a good thing. We took very differing approaches. I can't really argue with the McDonald's in the top 5. I like McDonald's. I eat at McDonald's. Fast food is something very near and dear to my heart. The fries are amazing, but
if you eat them hot, you can't.
Oh yeah,
don't
totally,
eat the
totally.
McDonald's fries left over.
Totally, but you know, I can see why they're top 5. It just didn't crack my top 5. I don't have any major issue with that one.
A nice good quarter pounder with cheese, side of fries, and a Diet Coke.
They're getting a little bit away from their fast food stuff, though. They're trying to be more and more like a higher class fast food, and that's not McDonald's bread and butter.
Stick to your roots, McDonald's.
Yes.
All right, here's my number 1 fast food chain in America. It is Wendy's. Old-fashioned burgers, never frozen. The fries are pretty good. Hey, and if you want a nice late-night snack, get one of those Frosties.
Their Twitter game is on point, by the way.
Their Twitter game
is hilarious.
Fantastic, yes.
I'll throw this out about Wendy's. Of like the major fast food chains, like McDonald's, and like the major burger fast food chains.
Yep.
Wendy's is my favorite. I love their fries. The sea salt, they put so much sea salt on there for me.
They do.
I love
they
it.
do. And
I absolutely love it.
It actually helps the
Yeah.
taste a lot. And, you know, again, Frosties, pretty good too. So you can always go with those. And dip the fries in the Frosty. Have you ever done that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, you're a part of that. All right.
I'm a human being. Of course I do.
So, Wendy's at number 1 for me, McDonald's 2, Chick-fil-A 3, Five Guys 4, and Burger King 5. All right, Tom, what do you got, buddy?
All right, so I looked here for, much like I do when I scout the NFL draft, I am looking for elite traits with these fast food chains. At number 5 is Taco Bell. Can I just stop you right here? I mean, Taco Bell's meat is like 15% actual meat. You know that. I don't care. It tastes good. Not only that, all right, they have plenty of different options. It's on the cheaper side of things. The Baja Blast, be it the drink or the freeze, unbeatable. So Taco Bell takes number 5 for me.
Okay.
I love Taco Bell.
All right,
I try to limit my usage there because I have to keep this perfect figure somehow.
I mean, if I want a taco, I'm going to like a nice sit-down restaurant. I'm not going to a fast food chain. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Okay.
But this is fast food, and I love Taco Bell.
Okay, this
It
next
is
one, I don't even
delicious.
know what the heck this is.
Yeah, you had that multiple times here for my top 5. At number 4 is Culver's. This is a Wisconsin-based fast food chain. They have frozen custard and butter burgers. The burgers are great. It's frozen custard, so just call it ice cream. It's really good. The next time you are in Wisconsin, Cam, whenever that is, I will take you there. You have to try it.
Okay, wait.
It is
butter burger? What does that mean?
It's just a fancy term for the burger. It's very good. It's very
Whoa.
greasy. It's very greasy.
Okay.
It's very good though.
All right, so
the fries are but the custard and the burger combo, it's my go-to there.
So that's a Rust Belt restaurant?
It is. I like it more than the Frosty burger combo or the Frosty fry combo at Wendy's. The custard burger combo at Culver's outweighs the Wendy's. That's why it got 4 for me.
All right, at number 4 there.
Number 3, then, this is the real best chicken fast food, Raising Cane's.
Again, no idea.
You haven't even heard of Raising Cane's?
Never even heard of it. Is this another
Did you live in a box?
Wisconsin thing?
No, this is a Louisiana-based restaurant, but they're all over the place. They have some in Ohio, where I am from. Raising Cane's is unbeatable.
See, folks,
it's
here's
the best
problem.
chicken.
Tom's from Ohio, unlike most people.
The chicken is great. the sauce is amazing. The Texas toast that you get is really good. The fries are whatever, but Raising Cane's has the best chicken out there.
Okay, here's what I'm noticing so far. So I did mostly burger stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going to the chicken and the
I
Mexican food.
had the chicken, I had the Taco Bell, I had the custard. I was looking for those elite qualities.
Okay, all right. And here's an elite one in your eyes at number 2.
Whataburger. Unbelievable. Have you now you've moved to Dallas, have you been yet?
I've never been.
You're killing me. You're killing me today.
No, yeah,
you're killing me, Smalls.
Whataburger. So is this a Texas thing?
Texas. It's a southern thing. I believe there's someone in Louisiana as well. We are going to take you. I promise you. Within the next week, we are going to take you there. Amazing burgers, great chicken. The fries are solid too. Everything about this place is elite. This was almost number 1. This was going to be number 1.
Burger restaurant?
That's Joe Flacco isn't even in the top 15 here. This would have been number 1. But I after talking with my girlfriend last night, I remembered that I forgot the best one, and I almost ruined everything here. At number 1 for me is Skyline Chili.
Skyline.
Have you heard of it?
Again, no. 3 things I have not heard of. And I'm pretty cultured, folks.
Your totem pole today says otherwise. So Skyline Chili is based out of Cincinnati.
Okay.
I got into a very big Twitter debate early, I think it was at some point last year, with Spencer Hall of SB Nation about Skyline Chili. It's Greek chili, is what it is. Think of the sauces. It's not all that different, like the chili itself, from like a meat sauce that your mom will make with spaghetti. It is amazing. It is when I go back to Cincinnati. Let's say I'm back there for a week, I will get Skyline a minimum of 3 times. It's that good.
Okay, here's the problem.
It's that good.
Folks, I hope you agree with me as you react here. Tom's power rankings are way too regional. I'm a national guy, okay? Like, give me the big stage, give me the big chains, the McDonald's of the world. So we want you to
There's
react.
a Skyline in Florida.
So let's.
There's none here in Texas, and it makes me sad.
I'll give you folks a recap of our power rankings here. So I have Wendy's at 1, McDonald's 2, Chick-fil-A 3, Five Guys 4, Burger King at number 5. Tom has Skyline Chili, whatever that is, at 1. Whataburger 2. Raising Cane's at 3. Culver's 4. Taco Bell 5. And we want you to weigh in on who has the better totem pole. Where the F is In-N-Out, Tom. You hate In-N-Out.
This is simple. In-N-Out is the most overrated fast food in America.
Is it because it's out of L.A., like the lights of L.A.?
I've lived in California. I've had In-N-Out many a time. It's actually just average.
Yeah.
Like, Californians will tell you this is the greatest food ever. It's not.
It's because that's all they eat. They don't have Skyline.
The fries are the worst of any fast food we've talked about today.
The fries are the worst?
The fries are terrible.
Really?
The burgers actually aren't all that good, and people are like, oh, you can get it animal style, which is just like Thousand Island dressing on top with some onions thrown in there. It's not that good.
So, heart
It's
if
just
you
not.
like my power rankings, and wow face for Tom, and
Look,
some people just want to know.
You went national. I went regional. I had the better food on my list.
I mean,
You have the more.
I win in convenience.
That's fair.
I win in convenience. I'm on the road. Think about this, folks. You're on the road, and you want to grab something quickly. You can't find Skyline on I-75.
You can if you're Ohio. Yeah, in Ohio you can. There's I-75 in Ohio.
Is there really? Darn it! I just picked a random number.
Yeah, you picked the highway near us. Unfortunately, it also connects to Cincinnati.
Oh yeah. So we left In-N-Out out. What else did we leave out? Any big names?
I'm sure
Is Chipotle a fast food restaurant?
You can't go through drive-through. So
okay.
That was my approach with the fast food. That's why Five Guys didn't make it. I think Steak and Shake kind of falls into the same thing.
Okay. All right.
So
Tom Downey, there you have it. Appreciate the time, sir.
yeah, of course.
All
Thanks for having me on.
There you go. That's our totem pole for today. We're going to hit a quick break. Coming up on the other side, the can't miss games this weekend. I'm going to plan your weekend. Time to get those stretchy pants. Stick around. And we welcome you back to the Cam Rogers Show here on this Friday, September 15th, 2017. Fun little segment there doing the totem pole with Tom Downey. Check him out at What Going Downey. Power ranking the fast food chains. It's a hot debate. It's a big one. So there you go. We'll have some more totem poles going forward on this program. But I'm going to get you ready for this weekend here. We have college football. We have important games in baseball now. The playoff race is on. We'll talk about the Indians later. And the NFL on Sunday. So here is my number 3, I guess you could say, can't miss game this week. Louisville Cardinals taking on the Clemson Tigers. That's Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ABC. Are you going to go out? Well, maybe you don't want to because you're going to be missing that game, which is going to be a good one. Look, Louisville coming into this game with Lamar Jackson playing fantastic football. Clemson, you know how they can ball out in that front seven. Clemson right now favored by 3 in this game. Clemson has won the last 3 meetings, as you see there. And look, I mean, Clemson is the Cardinals' kryptonite. Clemson is the only team in the Atlantic Division the Cardinals haven't beat. They lost a tough one last year, and I'm pretty sure the Cardinals aren't going to forget that one. It was a high-scoring affair. Clemson leaps to a 28-10 halftime lead in that game. So, I mean, it was actually pretty interesting to see Louisville score 26 unanswered. At one point in that 2016 contest, they did end up losing that game. But for Louisville, they have the magic of Lamar Jackson. And you just never know with a caliber like that, a player with that kind of skill set and talent. It's going to be a tough one in Death Valley. But look, Clemson at home, they're in a good spot right now at number 3. They're feeling good about their playoff chances in the early going with some teams crumbling, if you will, the likes of Florida State, etc. So it's Jackson versus that front 7 for Clemson. Tigers sacking Auburn's Jarrett Stidham 11 times in that game previously. So it was a 14-6 win last Saturday. Low-scoring affair. Nice little big boy football type of battle in the trenches. This is a different challenge now for Clemson in what Lamar Jackson can present on the football field. So we'll see what happens going forward with that game, but going to be a fun one to watch. Certainly circle that on your weekend calendar. If you're going to go out, go do something else on a Saturday night, and perhaps you'll miss that one. All right, we have another one. Day game on Sunday, NFL, Eagles versus Chiefs. This is a sneaky, important game here. I mean, look, you have the Kansas City Chiefs coming off this one with a lot of confidence because, of course, they took down the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. I mean, that's kind of big, right? So here's the thing that I always look at. How does a team that gets a win like that handle the success, handle the headlines, the media, the hype, and win or at least compete effectively in the following game? Here come the Eagles. They just played a great game against the Washington Redskins where that front 7, Trent Cole and company, getting after it. They're a speedy bunch. And look, the Chiefs have a middle-of-the-pack offensive line and pass protection and run blocking. So it's a line that can be exposed if Alex Smith is dropping back 45 to 50 times. The Patriots do not have the pass rushing ability that the Eagles do. The Eagles can get after the passer. So the Chiefs are going to have to give the ball to Kareem Hunt a good few times. I mean, that's just saying like the obvious. I mean, Alex Smith is not going to be able to throw 4 touchdowns in this game. It's not going to happen. It just won't. It's not his game. So for the Chiefs, they have a challenge here. Number 1, the mental challenge. After beating the defending champions, can they beat another quality opponent in the Philadelphia Eagles? And I'll say that. The Eagles are a quality opponent this year. I think they have a shot to win the NFC East. I really do. The way the Giants are looking, the way the Redskins are looking, the Cowboys won, but hey, I mean, injuries are piling up for them, Scantrick, etc. So that's an important one coming up. And the night game, Sunday Night Football, that too is a big one. Aaron Rodgers versus Matt Ryan. The Falcons, they should have lost that game against Chicago. I mean, it's a fact. They should have lost. But they won, and the Packers won. So it's Rodgers versus Matt Ryan in Atlanta. And look, that's going to be a high-scoring affair. If you have fantasy stock in that game, you're a very happy person because a lot of points will be thrown up on the board. Look, the front 7 for the Packers looked pretty good, but they do have a couple injuries, and we'll see how that shakes out going into Sunday night. But the running games are right there. Ty Montgomery should get a fair share of carries. Devontae Freeman at the running back position as well for Atlanta. He'll be pretty good. Tevin Coleman, he can catch some passes too. So I think there could be a lot of electricity in this one, if you will. A lot of points up on the board. That's Sunday at 8:30 on NBC. You may recall the Packers lost to the Falcons 44-21 in the NFC Championship game. The Falcons took it to the Packers in that one. Look, the Packers still have a pretty good offensive line and pass protection. The Falcons have a good offensive line as well. So I think the offenses are going to win this game, if you will, put up some points and make for an exciting finish. I do like the Falcons to win that game, though, at home. So there you have it. Those are the can't-miss games of the week. And Nick Penkala chiming in. He's a big bettor, too, from what I recall, my good pal Nick. He's taking the points with Louisville. That 3.5 spread is very generous, very generous. I could see Clemson winning by 10 in this game, to be honest with you. So Nick going with those points. 3.5 is the spread in this one, Louisville and Clemson. He likes Lamar Jackson, I'm going to assume. He thinks they're going to get it done in Death Valley, primetime game, under the lights. Lamar, this is your chance to really shine. Yeah, you got it done against North Carolina, but can you get it done on the big stage and really make the voters say, look, we got to really consider this guy for a Heisman yet again. We got Terry Williams chiming in on the totem pole today, and he agrees with Tom. Whataburger, look, Terry, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what it tastes like, so I can't exactly weight that in my power rankings. I can't really take that into consideration, but I guess Tom is going to take me to Whataburger, and he better be paying, too, because I've never had it, and so I'm not going to pay for something I've never even had. That's just not what I'm going to do. But good chiming in there, Terry. Appreciate it. We got Nigel here. He's going to say White Castle for no apparent reason. I haven't had White Castle, and I'm trying to think, is that a regional restaurant or is that a national chain? I'm not exactly sure. But White Castle I have seen around. It's not in New England where I'm from, but I have seen it in certain spots. So it's certainly up there for many people because people do enjoy some of these exotic chains. I haven't heard Sonic. That was one that we didn't bring up. But I have seen a couple of Sonics around here in Dallas. Not so much in New England, but on my road trip coming down to Dallas, moving in here, I did see a few Sonics. And they looked pretty nice. Like the buildings themselves looked pretty good, especially the ones around here. So for whatever that's worth, something to note. So maybe Sonic should be up in our totem pole as well. We'll get to the final word in a couple of moments here. I want to revisit and give you all a chance to weigh in on President Trump tweeting out at ESPN today because this is a situation where it broke this morning. 4:20 a.m. Trump took to Twitter attacking ESPN for their bad programming and the fact that it's paying a big price for its politics. And we want you folks to weigh in. Do you think the lines are blurred nowadays between sports and entertainment and politics too much? And I'm talking in a broad scape of the media. If you're trying to get your sports coverage, are you somehow diving into some entertainment / some politics coverage at the same time? And you weren't expecting it. Is that a trend that you are noticing in the media right now in 2017? Just in the broad sense of things. Just a broad question for all of you, because I'm curious to know what you have been exposed to, in your watching and reading, and et cetera. Because, look, the media industry is an industry where it's everywhere, folks. It's on your phone. It's on your laptop. It's still on your newspapers, believe it or not, too. So you can get information in so many ways. And when you're trying to get your sports or you're trying to get your politics or you're trying to get your entertainment, sometimes other things kind of overlap. And I'm wondering if you believe those lines are blurred between those few things. So weigh in. We'll pop up some comments as we go forward, and I will get into my final word here as we run up on 10 minutes on the program. The Cleveland Indians. What can we say? 22 straight games. This is history, folks. I mean, we are witnessing greatness. Remember when I said that earlier about the opening rant and how we should just sit back and enjoy the greatness and don't get all wigged out about what players say. Let them say what they want to say. This is an example of that. The Cleveland Indians. In my eyes, they have to win the Fall Classic. There's just no other option. I mean, 22 straight games is something that we haven't seen in a very long time. I haven't seen it, in my lifetime. And so when you have guys like Corey Kluber and Lindor, they have the nucleus to get it done. Now they have to go out and get it. I'm hearing words like Hollywood script, meant to be, fate. Look, this is reality. This isn't Hollywood. We can't write this script, but it's certainly starting out like a Hollywood story. And so for the Cleveland Indians, it seems to me they almost have to do this, right? If they don't do it, what does that streak even mean anymore? It will mean squat to the players, I guarantee it, and to the coaching staff. Why? Because they didn't win. They didn't win the World Series. Professional athletes hate moral victories. They hate them. You hear it all the time with reporters asking them, well, did you get the right steps in going forward and becoming a better team? No, we lost, usually is the response. No moral victories. And if the Cleveland Indians go into the World Series perhaps and lose, maybe in 6-7 games, whatever, they're not going to be satisfied. Are you kidding me? All that will be, that streak, it's going to be a page in Wikipedia. It's going to be a page on baseballreferences.com or whatever that website is with all that information. That's all it's going to be. So we ask you, the public, will the Indians win the World Series? So I want you commenting on President Trump's tweet today, and I want you commenting also on the Cleveland Indians here. Because this is a moment, folks, where we could witness something truly amazing in baseball. And I think it's something that baseball needs right now. It seems to me that baseball is a very localized sport. People love their teams, and that's it. What the Cleveland Indians are doing right now, they're bringing it back out into the national spotlight. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's an important thing. As you see there in our graphic, Indians have outscored opponents 139-35 during this streak. And that's not counting last night's games. You tack that up to 141-36 with that win. So, I think that's what they're doing right now is truly amazing. Again, sit back and enjoy what is going on right now. Corey Kluber saying a couple days ago, we're just showing up each day and trying to win that game. Yeah, right, Corey. I'm sorry, man. I know the sports cliche thing, game at a time, a swing at a time in golf. It's just like down the line. Corey, I'm seeing through you, man. You're not just looking at this game. You're looking at the future. How can you not? You're on the verge of something truly great. And to not see that, it takes a great amount of mental strength to do that, just to look at one game at a time. It's natural for us to look ahead. You see it in sports all the time, the trap games, right? Patriots are playing the Jags this week. They struggle because they have the Steelers that next week. You see the schedule? The Indians see the schedule. They're probably looking ahead to their opponents a week from now. They're thinking, okay, can we beat these guys? Can we get this done? Who's the starting pitcher for this? And so I know Corey Kluber is saying the right thing here, but it's just, I don't believe it. I know the right way to do it is to go one game at a time, incremental steps, get that win one day, get that win the next, and go from there. It's just tough to do, especially with the run they are on right now. A comparison, look, folks, we got any golfers out there in the audience? You're on the 18th tee, and you're about to break 70. All you need is a par, and you're looking ahead to that last putt. You're just ready for that putt, that fist bump, and you get like a triple, and you blow it. Why? Because you were looking ahead. It's natural. You weren't just looking at that drive right there. You were looking at breaking 70 for the first time. Why am I saying this? Because it's happened to me like a million times, and it's probably happened to a lot of people. It's natural human instinct. You're on the verge of something great, something that you truly are proud of, and it doesn't work out. Well, the Cleveland Indians have won World Series in this millennium, of course, last year. World Series appearances, I should be saying. They took on the Chicago Cubs in 7 games, had that 3-1 lead. As we remember, it was a fantastic fall classic. It's going to be a very tough follow-up in 2017. Can the Indians do it? Heck yeah. Jose Ramirez, perhaps an MVP candidate right now. Francisco Lindor could be in that conversation. Well, they're going to win the AL Central title. We know that. So they're going to get some nice games in Cleveland, a hefty amount of games. Look, I mean, they didn't need this streak in terms of making the playoffs, in terms of being a contender for the World Series. But it's there, and it's happening, and it's very real. Not a Hollywood script, although we're getting those comparisons. It could end up being like one. Let's say the Cleveland Indians go on and win the World Series. But the world can be a cruel, cruel thing. I think the Indians know that, looking back at that previous World Series appearance and the fact that they had that 3-1 lead and the Chicago Cubs came back. Look, there you go. Right there, the Cubs winning that World Series, I guess you could say, is a Hollywood script. But for the Cleveland Indians, it was not. But this year could be different. We'll see. We'll see. But they're a team that is going to be a factor in the playoffs. I know it. Just with the players they have and the chemistry. It's something that we tend to overwrite. The coaching staff and the ability for the coaching staff to have a positive effect on the players. And it's a mutual relationship. And Terry Francona, I remember watching him back in the Red Sox days up in New England and what he did with that team, especially in 2004. He made it happen. He made it happen, down 3-0 against the Yankees, ALCS, came back, boom, won that, and did away with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's getting his taste of adversity, of course, or he did with the 2016 World Series. Now it's time for him to get that other ring, or an additional ring, I should say. So for the Cleveland Indians, this is your time. My message to you is this is your time. Go out, be great, and continue that streak. But again, I know it's hard, but try to look at one game at a time. I know you're saying it, but can you do it? Can you put it into practice? Can you execute it? I couldn't execute it on the 18th tee. Let's see if you could execute it going forward and see if you can get that World Series title, because I know my Baltimore Orioles are not going into this playoffs this year. So I'll root for you guys, all right? I want the Hollywood script. I want the happy ending. So there you have it. This is the Cam Rogers Show here on this Friday. We thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll put this on a podcast, and we got a lot more content coming up later today on Chat Sports and all through the weekend covering the big football that is ahead. We thank you for tuning in once again, and I will see you Monday morning. Linda Cohn of ESPN will be coming on, and a couple other surprises. We'll see you.